Hey guys, what's up? It's GamerDudedotcom here, and today I thought I would give you a video on how I do my autoclicker. So I was watching Magic Bus the other day, and he had a very good video of how he does it on on smartphones and tablets. That gave me the idea that I'm always getting other players to ask me how I play, and I thought I'd show everyone this. So, you got to be really careful what kind of autoclickers you download and install. You can get a virus very easy if you're not careful. And I would just use that as a word of caution. So, anything that, if you use this video and any pointers that I give you to install the macro recorder that I use, you're doing so at your own risk, but this one should be very safe. But everyone should do their own due diligence and research. So, to get started, let's go check out the macro recorder that I'm talking about. Alright guys, so I actually use the jitbit macro recorder, and it's made by a company that's pretty trustworthy, and I haven't had any problems with it. I just want to tell you that you got to use extreme caution using different macro programs. You can end up downloading one that hijacks your computer. You can do all kinds of shady stuff. So I can vouch for this one. But with that being said, I have to throw out that warning that if you choose to install it and use it, it's all at your own risk. But enough of that, let's get into what we're going to do here. So you do get a free trial with this, a 30-day trial, so you can check it out. I'm going to actually download it and install it. It's going to know that I have the full version still, but all the features we're going to use today will be the ones that you would actually get in the trial version that you download. Some of the stuff you get through the paid version is you actually get the ability to compile those macros into executables, which you don't really need to worry about for what we're trying to do here. And it also gives you the ability to insert C# code snippets. I have not messed with that, but I imagine that could be pretty powerful. And right now here is where what I'm talking about, where you can insert the C# snippets. But you don't need to do that for what I'm going to take you through today. Okay, so I actually use this program to make basically two macros is what I really use for Bubblegum Simulator. And the first one, well, both of them actually have to do with getting around the whole timing out thing for 20 minutes of inactivity. But, luckily, Rumble Studios, Isaac, they've put in a lot of features that make the need for an autoclicker not present. So Roblox, they'll still throw you a curveball where they'll do the you'll get internet, no connection to the internet when you still have internet. Not sure what that's all about, but for the majority of the time I haven't had an issue with this, especially when everything Roblox servers are stable and everything's running smooth. So I will say that I'm pretty sure that you could figure out a way to even address that with a more advanced macro. I have tried it, but I have not had luck yet with getting it to work. So what I'm talking about is for whatever reason you get logged out of the game due to with this you won't get the 20-minute inactivity thing, the two that I'm going to show you today. But the other internet issues, or if you did have a real disconnect at home, being able to make the macro, be able to click the reconnect button, I've had issues with that, and I think it's because of the way the game does that pop up with the foreground and background. It just doesn't work with this macro recorder. So if you guys use this and you figure out a way to make it work, please let me know. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a couple basic pointers and setup features that you need to set in here, and then I'm going to jump right into the auto egg hatcher without being logged out due to 20 minutes of inactivity. So if you want to go through the demo and get helpful information, you can just leave this on. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. I don't want to see this. I'm going to show you three settings that you should set. Here in this setting icon, you just click this, and in this first window under the General tab, there's this Move Playback Recording Tools bar to the right. I prefer mine to be to the right side, so I click that. And then playback settings, there's an option to hide the topmost playing bar. That's completely up to you. So if you were recording the video or doing anything like that, you might want to hide it, and you would just have to know the shortcuts. So on a PC, it's going to be Control P to start. the macro and Control P to stop the macro or pause it. It doesn't actually stop it. There's other shortcuts. You can dig into the documentation and help instructions if you want to go into that in depth. The other setting and most important one that you need to change is this continuous replay. So out of the default, when you install it, it's going to say replay one time. If you set it to 0, it'll just keep running that macro over and over and over again. You shouldn't really need to change anything else. Playback speed, if you mess around this, like you could make it too fast where it could end up locking your PC up. I've found that leaving it on normal is perfectly fine. And if you wanted to change your hotkeys, which when I was telling you Control P would start playing the macro and pause it and whatnot, you could change what combination of hotkeys you use for that stuff. And actually here, on this tab, you can you could just note this down because these are your main hotkeys that you would need to remember. Okay, so once we've done that, we just click OK, and then we've got, you've got options, but like I said, you can record your actions, and it'll record everything you do. Then you can save it, and it'll make a macro and just repeat that over and over. For what I'm going to show you, it's going to be a pretty straightforward way of doing this here. All right, so the first macro I'm going to build is going to be the one that does the auto egg hatching. I think I've said that a bajillion times already, but we're finally to the part that we can do that. Just again, this program has actually got a lot of features. So if you're interested, I would, highly recommend you take your time and go through it and learn how to use it. You may be able to use it. Well, you can use it for all kinds of other things, but just for what we're trying to do now, we can keep it very simple. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do to start this macro off is I'm going to put a repeat command in there, and we can just do it repeat X amount of times. And the way I have mine set up, I'm just going to give you exactly how mine is set up. So I've got the repeat to repeat 1,000 times, and once we get through the macro, I'll explain what that's going to do once we get the rest of it set up here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do after we have the repeat command inserted here is we're going to insert a keyboard event, and we're going to do a key press and the letter T, because the letter T is the key you would press for auto. And you see how this command for keyboard has went kind of inside, it's indented under repeat. That's going to be part of this loop we're building here, and it's a very basic loop. The next thing we want to do is just go right ahead and insert the in repeat command. So what will happen here is this is going to be a loop that loops 1,000 times, and it'll press that T each time it loops. And that might be a little bit quicker than a second because this is doing it real quick, but it definitely keeps you under the timeline of when you would get auto logged out due to inactivity. And the next thing we do, what we add, actually has worked for keeping me from logging out at all due to inactivity. So we would need to insert another keyboard command, and I just do the E command, which is to open one egg. So it mixes this up. So what'll happen when we execute this is it's going to run, and it's going to run this loop 1,000 times, and then it's going to kick out and run this keyboard command after the 1,000th run of this cycle one time, and then it'll start all over again. And the reason it'll start all over again is because in here in settings, in playback, we put the replay on 0, which is infinity, so it'll keep playing this back over and over. Alright, so from here you would go ahead and do a file save, and it's going to ask you, you give it a file name. I actually have one of these already saved called tegg. I'll just call this tegg demo, and we'll save it. And this is awesome because now you have this macro saved. If you want to switch it to a different macro and use it, you can, you won't have to redo the setup of this again. All right, so I closed out the tegg macro. I'm going to make the bubble egg macro because I'm actually going to need to use this on my alt, and it'll actually be a good demonstration of how you can use it starting out. So let's go in here, and we're going to do the same kind of thing. We're going to insert a repeat X times statement. And for this one, again, you could play around with the settings. I'm just going by what I personally use, so I set this to 5,000. And then I'm going to insert a mouse action. So we're going to find the mouse icon here. And what I want to do is a mouse click. So we have all these different options. The one we're going to choose is mouse click. And then you've got these options here for where the mouse should be positioned. So if we were in the game, so I've got the game behind us here so you can get kind of a feel for how this works. We're trying to position this right on our guy. So actually, let me cancel this real quick. I'm going to move this over. And an easier way to do this, guys, is you could try doing it in window mode, like window the game, have it running in windowed mode, but I would have it still full screen. So you should have like, you should see like your Windows bar down here. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to insert this mouse event, mouse click, and you see as I'm moving my mouse, these numbers are changing for the coordinates. I try to put the mouse right over my guy, and once you've got it over him, you can hit the F2 key, and it captures where the mouse coordinates on the screen. So I just hit the F2 when I had the mouse right over my guy, and it put those coordinates in right here. Another way to do it is just to move the mouse around, and when you find coordinates that you want to use, you can write those down and enter them in here. I would suggest trying to keep the mouse on your guy so you don't accidentally set it somewhere else and he's clicking a menu option or something. And so once you've got your coordinates set, you just go ahead and hit OK. And we need to insert a end repeat command to end that loop. We go down here to this icon, use end repeat, and so that's got our basic loop for what we want to do. And so essentially, what this is going to do is repeat this whole loop 5,000 times, and each time it runs, it's going to click the mouse key once, and that'll be. There are other options in there where you can hold the mouse key down, which I think would actually potentially give you a faster bubble click. But as fast as it's going to run, that may not even be accurate. This has just been the only way that I've found it definitely keeps me logged in, and where I have the most success. So the next thing we need to do is I like to insert a delay, and I give it 2,000 milliseconds. So if you come down here, that should be 2 seconds. So and you could do it right here too. You could say 2 seconds. Let's just do it like that. So in the seconds area, I'm gonna put in 2, and then that's gonna set this up here to 2,000 milliseconds. And then you click OK. So the only thing we need to do to wrap this up is to insert a keyboard command, and what I recommend is the key press with the space button. So there we go. All right. So now this is essentially what I use for my bubble blowing macro, where I don't get logged out for 20 minutes of inactivity. I'm going to do a file save, and I'm going to give it a name, Bubbles. There's my saved one, Bubbles Click. I'll just give it the same name with demo again. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to point out before we go to see these in action, under settings and then playback settings, you know, early on I was talking about how you can check this. I actually left it unchecked for the purposes of this video, just so you can actually see the playing bar where you can actually control the macro, just in the event you forget what the hotkeys are. Alright guys, so right now we're in the game. I'm on with an alt account, and I had pressed Control P up here, which started the playback of the macro. Right now I have it paused. I could use this command bar up here to start it again, to resume, to play it, or I could actually stop it and change the macro if I needed to. What we're going to do is we're going to walk over here. Let's just go ahead and demonstrate it. I'm going to hit Control P, and my guy's going to keep blowing bubbles. Now the way this macro is set up, whenever I try to move the mouse, it's going to keep repositioning it on those coordinates that we set in the macro. See, I'm trying to move it away from him, and it's not going anywhere. It just keeps coming back to him. So if you feel like you're using this and it's locked up, just hit Control P to pause the macro, and then you can move your mouse around without any issue. If you're just starting out and using this just because you don't want to do the redundant grind to keep getting money, I think this will work if we just put our guy over here in the sale area and then start our macro. I think we'll be fine. I think it'll, every time, it may pop a few bubbles before it sells, but it'll just keep this process going. When you first start out, you only can blow up to 25 bubbles before you have to sell. And it looks like this is averaging around 4 or 5 before it actually does the sell action, before that gets through. So you should be okay regardless. And if not, you just do a little bit of work to get enough gold up to buy a bigger enough bubble capacity. All right, guys. So this alt account is pretty new, and it'll take a while for me to get him up to where we could actually have enough money to demonstrate the auto egg hatcher macro properly. So I'm just going to pause the video and switch to a different alt so I can let you guys see what that looks like real quick. All right, guys. So I'm back here. I'm on one of my cool alts named Xmas Loot. I got some cool ideas for this guy. I've actually had him for a couple years, but haven't played him much. Was going to go around giving a lot of pets away through him during Christmas last year, and it just didn't pan out. I actually didn't have the channel up and whatnot. Anyway, long story short, I do plan on using them this year to do some stuff during Christmas. Anyway, with all that out of the way, he has enough gems and money for us to demonstrate the auto egg hatching macro without any issues. So right here, I'm just going to, instead of using the shortcut keys, I'm going to show you how to do this with this command bar up here now. If we just click this to stop it, and then we can click the eject button or close button, and that'll bring the program back up. And from here, remember, here's the name of our macro that we're running. This one right here, Bubbles Click Demo. That's what we saved it as. We also had saved the egg one prior as tegg demo. So I'm going to go File, Open. And then I'm going to go to where I had that macro, the one that we created and saved. I'm going to open it up. So now the macro, this is the macro that the program will run. I'm going to go back into the game, and I'm going to go, let's go over here to this egg here. All right, so now I'm going to do Control P to start my macro. And since this is an alt, I don't have like open 3 eggs at once on this guy. So he's only going to be able to open 1 egg at a time. But he'll sit here and he'll keep doing this for 1,000 times. So once this macro runs 1,000 times in this loop of hitting the T key, which is auto, it will then come out of the loop, hit the E key for open 1 egg, and then go back into the loop again and do it all over again, like 1,000 times, and then kick it out. This has been the one that's helped me the most stay without having that log out issue. So this is what I use. I know there's many other options out there. I just feel safer using this one. I actually trust where the program came from, and I've had really good luck with it. So if you try this out, make sure you're doing so at your own risk. That you're doing this at your own risk, and just give it a go. If you figure out a way to make it better, make a video or let me know in the comments. And I hope you guys were paying attention, because I did hide a digital item code in this video, and the first one to find it and put it all together wins. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you found this helpful, and do all the good things. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and give it a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good day.